And the answer to my mind lies in fostering competencies of a much deeper and wider kind. In a way, somebody mentioned it early on, actually, we need to recognize that the combination of all the three areas of discussion in the Cultural Forum must firstly be experienced as a holistic undertaking. Intercultural dialogue, the economy of culture, Europe, and the rest of the world. It's all one subject, of course it is. And it's only natural we divide into different rooms. But you mentioned horizontalization. I'm learning kind of new uses of these words. It's a great one. And it came up yesterday. The Department of the Horizontal was mentioned yesterday. That's common sense, you know. If we had a horizontal department between ourselves and the other two rooms, interesting sparks going on. Just to remember that, because the three streams end up, I mean, who puts them together? What's the agenda? Our locus in this instance, even if we freely acknowledge the rich diversity of deeply rooted local cultures within the community that draws us into this one space today, our locus is the global. Thus, the essential dynamic at the heart of the creative process in education or elsewhere at work is a kind of global listening. The rest of the world is within us, and outside us or without us is also the rest of the world. The local self listens to and invites a reciprocal listening, a lobality, to coin a word, something lobal. And that lobality is a kind of global listening that we are all called to in our time, which is raising the necessity for forums like this right around the world. And of course, if we focus on a global listening, it stands to reason that Europe will surely be taken care of within that concern. That is, if it's part of the rest of the world, of course. Our concern for the rest of the world within us will turn out and respond to a global listening. And our final question asks us to consider our potential contribution to the European Year of Innovation and Creativity. Let me just mention it. I said, well, it's in my neck of the woods. Throw out a suggestion. And there are many suggestions. And I thought, well, could it be, if we think in terms of Europe and the world, not Europe and the rest of the world, if we think of Europe and the world, or the world within which Europe is, and then we could think of new ways to imagine the world from Europe. It's our contribution. We're not pretending we're not here. We're not pretending that we're not everywhere else as well, or we're not part of the bigger picture. So my suggestion, from Europe, new ways to think our world. So by thinking of the wider picture, we're automatically thinking of ourselves, So we need to take a wider compass. Ironically, in a forum concerning cultural globalization, of all places, to be primarily concerned about your own neck of the woods doesn't really make much sense. And finally, the key here is to contextualize local culture dynamics within a global domain. The study of world cultures is a key to unlocking a deeper understanding of a shared human reality. It's very, very important within education that we encourage the systematic, imaginative, innovative study of world cultures. World music, music from different places, kinship systems, different kinds of dance, how we dress, how we make our houses, how we live, how we talk, etc., etc. That could be gone back on. That could be reimagined. That could be looked at again. I would speak, if I had time, with some passion longer on that, because I am an ethnomusicologist. I construct curricula in the areas of music and dance. And I run a performing arts centre at the University of Limerick in the west coast of Ireland called the Irish World Academy, which is concerned about globalisation. It's not concerned about Ireland and the rest of the world. It's concerned about Ireland in the world and the world in Ireland. Just as Europe in the world and the world in Europe, because, of course, with the increased sources of migration, increased action of migration, the world is indeed with us now. So the study of world cultures is a key to unlocking a deeper understanding of a shared human reality, the community, the communality of birth, of life and life cycle, of love and intimate relationship, of kinship, of joy, of tragedy, of sickness, of health, of imagining, of reimagining, of death and dying, of faith, of utopia and dystopia, of tragedy and of hope. One final thing that could be done relative to education and relative to the overall thing of the forum is it's my honour to be chair of a new body in Ireland called Culture Ireland, which would be our equivalent, I suppose, of something like the British Council, representing Irish art globally. It's a young organisation, just 3 years old, based on an older model, but much bigger now, and championed by the recently retired director of the British Council, Sir David Green. The similar bodies like the British Council, Goethe Institute, etc., Culture Ireland, have come together within the domain of the European Union to network. Makes a lot of sense. But it seems to me that that organisation is called UNIC, E-U-N-I-C. A very young organisation, 2 years old, just beginning to talk across Europe. But what happens if it opens out? Somehow or other, the presentation of Europe to the rest of the world. This is what we are. This is what we do. This is how diverse we are. But when we collect into one place, this is one of the ways we dance. This is one of the ways we sing, etc., etc. So there is the possibility, I think, within that as well, which is all linked to the educational domain. Thank you very much.